When we were little, my sister and I, we were riding our new bikes and she fell. She got hurt. She had to go to the hospital to get a cast. And every time she went to the hospital, they were gonna take off the cast, but they didn't because she had cancer.
Hi, my name is Beatriz Aviles, but my friends know me as B. I am 14 years old. I was born in Sequoia Hospital in Redwood City. When I turned about 9 years old, my year got really rough. First, my bike got stolen. My brand new bike got stolen. I barely had it and it got stolen. And then when we found it, I broke my leg. But anyways, we kept going to the hospital, and every time they would want to take off the cast, they couldn't because my leg was so swollen, so they would think it was still broken.
My daughter Beatrice was 9, and she was very sick. I was pregnant at that time from my son Daniel, and I kept taking my daughter to the doctor every day because her fevers were very high. The last day when my daughter was gonna come back home, they called at my work and letting me know that I had to come very fast to the hospital. We were gonna be transferred to San Francisco to have a bone marrow. At that time I didn't know what that meant, but I remember that a lot of doctors came in after the bone marrow was done, and they had Kleenex on their hands, and I asked them, why do you have boxes of Kleenex? And they said, well, you're gonna need them. And I said, no, I do not need nothing. I was very upset. I do not remember a lot because I fainted. But that's when we found out that my daughter had leukemia, and it's APML leukemia. It's an adult's cancer. They had given my daughter 3 months to live.
I didn't understand what was going on, but I guess, I don't know, right away it clicked me that something bad was happening. So I was a religious person. I had a lot of faith in God, so immediately I asked for this cross that I have. I asked it to be brought to me, and my cat. For a while I had a Hickman line, which is kind of like tubes that they put on your chest so that they don't have to keep poking you and poking you. And because I had it, people couldn't really go near me because they would be afraid that if somebody pulled it or something, it would affect me a lot. And then I couldn't eat a lot of things like strawberries, I couldn't have pets, birds, cats. I couldn't go near my dogs. It was awful because on top of the fact that I did not understand what was going on, I did not like the fact or even understood why my brothers and sister couldn't visit me. I was clueless on why they weren't allowed to see me and why I wasn't allowed to see them, and I felt really terrible. I thought, what's wrong? Why won't they let me see them?
That was very hard because she kept saying that she didn't remember how they looked like. And the only day that they allowed them to come, they had to wave their hand through the mirror. That was the only way that she could see them. But even till this day, it looks like she doesn't want to talk a lot about it anymore, to go back and remember. And there's days that she gets frequently headaches due that from the chemotherapy, half of her brain is swollen. So the headaches don't go away, and we just know that she just needs some time out. We didn't talk about it a lot, or I guess she was scared. I remember my other son used to say when we were gonna come back home.
We weren't the same again because we saw our parents a little more, but not as frequent as we used to, as before my sister got sick. Before, we used to go on bike rides. We used to go to Mexico every year, to Disneyland. We used to play soccer, basketball. We used to run together, take the dogs out for a walk, and a lot of stuff. And when she got sick, we stopped doing a lot of that stuff because we didn't have enough money or because there was just no time.
I don't think it changed really much. Maybe it did, but if it did, I didn't realize the changes. I think that I was so far away from my family that when I came back, I thought it was how they acted was their regular self now, because I couldn't remember how everything was before. I had to repeat the year that I was in because they wouldn't let me continue because I had missed so much school. So I had to start all over again. I had to make new friends, and it was difficult, but the people that surrounded me were really nice, most of them. They wouldn't like stare me down, but sometimes, I don't know, I could like hear them saying like, why is she bald or stuff like that, but they would never say it to my face, and most of them were nice.
When all her hair fell out, that she went bald, a lot of kids teased her, made fun of her, called her baldy and a bunch of stuff. And it made me really mad because they said it in front of my face.
People tell you things and they don't know unless, like they say if their shoes are there then. And, a lot of people always tell you, like, if you miss, someone dies, don't worry, you're married again. You don't replace your children. That's the way that I see it.
Yeah,
Don't tell me how to go hug you.
Can I go hug her? No.
Ask about that.
Just do it. What did I tell you the other day?
Try.
No, you shush. What did I tell you?
Oh no, I can't remember.
Just tell us a little about it.
I had this friend. It's funny because we never really met, but in my mom's work, they did this blood test check or fundraiser or something like that, because they were looking for a bone marrow match for Brian. He had cancer too. He had the same type that I had, and we sort of became friends. I wrote him a letter and I said, be happy, smile, don't cry. And I don't know, then a couple months later I got a bracelet. This bracelet, my mom gave it to me. She was like, oh, Brian sent it to you. And a little while after that, I received a letter by mail saying that he had died. So I used I don't take it off anymore, because my mom had frozen my blood cells. Oh no, she had frozen my brother's blood cells so that in the future, if I ever needed them, they would be right there and I could use them. And my mom offered him the blood cells and he said no. So he said, no, I can't do that. I already lived my life and now it's her turn. So he's really special to me.
Ever since that time, my sister has been blaming herself for him dying. She says that if it wasn't for her, he'd still be alive and she would be dead. And like I told her, it's not your fault. If he died, it was for a reason. This is all destiny. If God wanted him to leave and you to live, it's probably for a reason. It's not your fault, and you don't have to be blaming yourself for it because there's nothing you could have done.
Well, one of the things that I remember is that Usually I try to go to my daughter's room when she was sleeping, so she wouldn't know that I was there. And I guess I wasn't that lucky that every time I thought she was sleeping, I would go in there, and I was almost 8 months pregnant already at that time, and I would always cry. And I remember that my daughter held my hand one day and said, "Don't cry, Mom, I'm not dying." And I said, "No, I'm just worried, I'm just tired and worried." And she said, "Don't you see that lady? She's dressed in white, and she's my angel." And I really, believe that there is an angel there, because she's been very sick and she has never gone down. She's just very strong.
We were basically all we had. We didn't really have anybody else. It was just us, and we kind of like helped each other through it. When I was in the hospital, my doctor came up to me and she asked me, "How is it that you don't cry? Why is it that you're in the hospital and you're not crying?" And I told her, and I'll tell anybody else who's going through this, it does no good to dwell yourself in all the sadness, because it's not worth it. Even if you know you're gonna die in a couple months or weeks or days, you should make the best of the time you have left.